Hello, I'm doing this presentation with Leah, and my name is Milton. We're doing this presentation about the emerging economy of Brazil. First of all, Brazil is the largest country in South America and fifth largest in the world, spanning an area of over 8.5 million square kilometers. The country's vast landscape ranges from the Amazon rainforest in the north to the Pantanal wetlands in the southwest. Brazil has an incredible diversity of ecosystems and natural beauty.
It is home to a population of over 200 million people, making it the most populous nation in Latin America. Portuguese is the official language. It is the only country in South America to have it as their primary language. Brazilians are known for their warmth and hospitality, often referred to as Jeitinho Brasileiro, which reflects a unique way of finding solutions and embracing life with creativity and joy. In this presentation, we hope to show that Brazil has built its economy with creativity, joy, and solid macroeconomic policies that have turned Brazil into a worldwide economic power.
Brazil is known for its amazing savannas, beautiful coastlines, and famous cities like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. With 15 cities having over 1 million people, about 13% of the population lives in these busy urban areas. These cities are full of life, offering a mix of culture, business, and opportunities for people across the country.
Brazil has both big challenges and exciting opportunities. Its rich natural resources and incredible biodiversity give it the chance to lead in sustainable development. However, the country also struggles with problems like deforestation, economic inequality, and the rapid growth of cities. As an important country in South America and around the world, the cities like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo have large economically disadvantages of populations living in favela like the one shown in this picture.
Brazil's economic journey touches on many interconnected topics, from its role in global trade to strategies it has used to stabilize its economy and to address social challenges. For example, we'll look at how shifts like the Plano Real helped combat hyperinflation and bring stability. Inflation trends have shaped economic policies, influencing monetary strategies and efforts to address social disparities like poverty and income inequality. Financial inclusion is another key focus, where banking and non-banking institutions play a unique role in reaching underserved populations. These subjects overlap in how they highlight Brazil's efforts to balance growth, stability, and equity in a challenging and changing global environment.
As we can see in this graph, inflation in the 1980s and early 1990s was disrupting daily life and economic stability, setting the stage for drastic measures to shore up their currency and economy. As shown in the graph, this was not the first attempt to fix the economic problems faced in Brazil. The URV, or Real Unit of Value, was an innovative, non-monetary currency that worked as a bridge to stabilize the economy without shocking it further. The real was the culmination of the plan and has succeeded in reducing inflation for Brazil and has brought more stability and growth since its inception.
While it's interesting to look at the currency and coins, its ability to retain value is far more important than what the money looks like. To fight inflation, the new currency was pegged to the dollar at first, but it was soon transitioned to a floating exchange rate. The plan included measures to reduce government spending, increase interest rates, and attract foreign capital. The Plano Real successfully reduced inflation from 47.4% in June of 1994 to just 1.7% in December of 1994. The new currency and policies helped restore economic stability and confidence in the Brazilian economy. Ayres, in his paper titled The Monetary and Fiscal History of Brazil, discusses how the public saw the Real Plan. Quote, the value the public bestowed on the new inflation scenario became clear in the following presidential elections. Fernando Henrique Cardoso, the finance minister during the elaboration of the Real Plan, was elected president of Brazil in the first round, not only in the presidential elections of 1994, but again in the 1998 elections. It's interesting to see a population reward politicians for a job well done, when we're generally used to elections being driven by dissatisfaction.
Brazil's monetary policy plays a significant role in addressing social disparities like income inequality and poverty. But it's a complex relationship with both benefits and trade-offs. One of the achievements of monetary policy has been economic stability, particularly through controlling inflation. This is especially beneficial for low-income populations who are hit the hardest by rising prices. However, the use of high interest rates to curb inflation can also create unintended barriers, such as limiting access to credit for those who need it most. This highlights the ongoing challenge of balancing inflation control with promoting economic growth and inclusivity.
While monetary policy has been successful in reducing inflation and stabilizing the economy, it's clear that structural inequality persists. This indicates that monetary measures alone are not enough. They must work in tandem with targeted fiscal policies and social programs to address the deeper roots of inequality and ensure that benefits from economic stability are shared more equitably across society. It's a complex puzzle to balance monetary policy in developing economies. Frankenhoff, in his paper titled Elements of an Economic Model for Slums in a Developing Economy, discusses the extreme cost of inflation on the poor and the importance of controlling inflation on their behalf. Quote, inflation is a regressive tax. It falls most heavily on those families who have the least income. For every chouriço he spends, he pays an inflation tax, the loss of purchasing power which the monetary unit has undergone since its last pay raise. End quote. Brazil's plan to combat inflation has been largely successful, and the effects on the poorest Brazilians have been largely positive, though it remains a difficult balance to maintain.
Here we have a map of Recife showing purchasing power capita overlaid with favelas, or tenements, and irregular subdivisions. These favelas in blue outlines are areas of heavy population, density, and low income, as can be clearly seen on this map. Even after 30 years of increased economic stability and general prosperity, the favela and the people who live there are still struggling to realize the full effect of the economic recovery.
Brazil's long battle with inflation and even hyperinflation in the late 20th century has left a long-term imprint on the country's monetary policies. At minimum, it has led to a very inflation-aware and, at most, an inflation-adverse stance. The success of the Real Plan, in spite of opposition of groups like the IMF, has installed self-discipline and a proactive attitude in managing the country's financial system and its currency. Compared to its peers, Brazil stands out for its early and decisive actions. This approach reflects its commitment to maintaining stability, as we'll show in our next slide.
As we see on this graph showing central bank interest rates, Brazil had the highest interest rate hike to combat inflation post-COVID. They were also the first to raise their rates and the slowest to ease off their rates. The question then becomes, did this inflation adverse policy work?
This graph, showing inflation in Latin America, shows that Brazil, despite spiking first, was also the first to get back in control and return to near historic rates. This shows a monetary policy that worked as intended, though other side effects of the drastic measures may partially undo this monetary victory. Brazil's role in global trade has changed over time. Historically, agriculture and extractive industries like mining have dominated the economy. Recently, Brazil has diversified its trade portfolio, moving beyond raw materials to include industrial goods and services. Key trade partners have included China, the EU, and the United States, reflecting a global reach of its economy. I've personally seen this impact because for the past 8 years, I've worked with a team of GIS or Geographic Information Systems software developers in Sao Paulo, and their primary export is a service or knowledge. So diversification has reduced dependency on a single sector, making Brazil more resilient. It's been exposed to the economy and global market fluctuations. Export revenues have strengthened foreign reserves, contributing more to economic stability, while trade relationships have boosted Brazil's geopolitical influence.
Banco do Brasil has locations in Brazil, the United States, Austria, Portugal, Spain, France, and Italy. Itaú Unibanco has over 4,335 locations throughout Brazil. Bradesco has its locations in over 7 countries like the United States, Mexico, Cayman Islands, Argentina, China, Luxembourg, and the United Kingdom. Having banking institutions with presence around the world helps to stabilize the economy, assists with trade, and allows for other financial innovations.
Brazil's journey shows its resilience, creativity, and the importance of balancing economic policies with social equity. It is a story of contrasts, rich resources but significant hurdles. Brazil's journey reminds us that economics is not just about policies and numbers, it's about people, their lives, and their ability to thrive in a changing world. Learning about Brazil's economy gives us hope for its future potential for the country and its people.